Yo, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your weekly training here in the Retire Early Through Real Estate Investing group. Today, I'm going to go over a couple questions that I get all the time, and I'm sure you guys have more questions. I'm happy to help you out with those. But basically, it's about really how to get started is what I hear the most. Right. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Joanna Wright, founder of Bottom Line Wealth, where I teach entrepreneurs how to leverage real estate to save on taxes, to create more cash flow, and just like have that asset security so that you're not living client to client. Right. So the reason I do that is my landlord had a stroke, and she had to sell off some of her inventory. And to acquire all that real estate and live off the cash flow, when she had an emergency, which nobody plans for, I know because I was a mortgage broker and I see medical collections on credit reports all the time, she used her assets, real estate, to pay for long-term care, to subsidize it. And that's what I really want to bring to the table here. But what I hear the most is, well, I don't even know how to get started, Joanna, like much less build a retirement plan. I get it. You have to start somewhere. So that's why I'm coming to you with these particular questions. How to get started, like how do you even find a motivated seller? Realtors don't talk to me. How do you fund the deals? Like all of these things that come to mind. And I have some great news for you. I've got a ton of training on all of this. So today I really want to dive into just basically how do you get started, right? How do you get started? And getting started is, first of all, making a decision. First of all, it's making a decision, okay? And then with that, you're going to be able to know what kind of person you're going to deal with, what kind of exit strategy you're going to deal with, where your market is, all of those things. So in doing that, you'll be able to, let me pull this up here for you guys. All right, cool. So, so where do you even invest? So this depends on your story. So everything I'll say this depends so many times. I feel like an attorney, which I'm not, but so I had a client in Colorado who invested in Virginia. She did it for tax purposes. She did turnkey with a realtor so that she could leverage her time. Okay. What I teach mostly on is how to acquire and value add property. Okay. So I teach you to go into your own backyard at first, and then you can expand from there. I have a complete training on this, and I'll give you that option at the end of this little training here to be a part of it if you like. So stay tuned, okay? So where do you start real estate investing? Or how do you start real estate investing? First of all, decide that you're going to do it. Make time on your calendar that you're going to learn to do it. Have somebody in your corner and by your side that's going to keep you safe, because I've read more than a few times out in Facebook land that someone did their first fix and flip and only lost $31,000, right? So like you're either going to pay for mentorship from a coach with experience, or you're going to pay from the school of hard knocks. You choose how you're going to pay for it. Some people do just fine in making that decision and acquire property. And they're like, phew, I did it. I'm safe. Nothing too crazy happened. There's always something crazy that happens. But having somebody by your side can walk you through that, right? So that brings me to, how do you know it's a good deal? How do you know it's a good deal? My students are going every week. We're going over, this property. Here's the location. Here's the numbers. Here's the story. Here's the market and what's happening in it. And then we evaluate that property and know if it's going to be a good deal or not. So having someone to run those numbers with you is pretty huge. What I don't like those software programs that sit there and tell you, here's the comps in the neighborhood, and this is the price that you should offer. Well, first of all, that's one way of doing it. And second of all, you don't even know that those comps are even right. Let me tell you why. I teach my clients how to comp out a property, which means finding comparable properties, properties that are like the one that you're doing, not down in the corner and it's 5-bedroom and yours is 3-bedroom. Like, they're totally different, right? And that one's fully renovated and this one's not, right? So you need to know what you're looking at, first of all. I call it the pretty number and the ugly number. So as an ugly house, and I say ugly, it's a little detrimental, but it's ugly because it needs work. The bathroom needs to be fixed. It hasn't been updated in 20 years, whatever the case may be, whatever the story is, right? So we get into all of that in a training I have coming up. I'll dive into the details, but basically it's taking those numbers, knowing what the ugly number is and the pretty number is what you should buy it for. I mean, it's that simple. Okay. But when you're running those numbers by yourself, you're going, I think, right? So really knowing what is a good deal. Is it cash flowing? Is it in an up and coming market? What's the gentrification level? Like, did it just start? Is it in the middle? Is it hit the peak? What's going on with the market? So that's going to help you understand how to how to know if it's a good deal. Okay. And then, like, where do you find motivated sellers? I go over that in my training coming up. If you guys want to be a part of it, just type training down below. That's a good word, right? Training down below. And I'll get you the details on that. Type training down below, and I'll give you the training that is going to be in detail of all of this, right? This is just my short trainings that I do every week. It's a lot to cover. There's so much detail to it that you'll get more in my training, and of course more in my program, and how I teach my clients. So piece it up, right? So where do you find motivated sellers? They're freaking everywhere. My son once said to me, like, Mom, how do you, when I was a realtor years ago, I was in an office of 85 realtors. And he said, Mom, how do you even get any business? Like, it must be cutthroat here. There's 85 realtors. And I'm like, well, there's 4,000 in the area. And no, I have no problem. So that's the same thing, same mindset in the investor world, right? I've had investors, even my own clients, come up to me and say, Joanna, this market's just saturated. I can't even play in it. Well, first of all, you can just go to another market. Let's just start there. And the other thing is, that's a scarcity mindset. There's plenty for everybody to go around. Okay, there's plenty for everybody to go around. So if you're speaking directly to the seller, not the realtor, if you're speaking directly to the seller, there's plenty to discuss, plenty of those to go around that you can help and serve. And that's how I have my clients with that first step forward to serve the seller. Like, do you need this? Do you need that? Here's what we can do. Let's make it a win-win so that I relieve your headache, right? And in doing this, I've had plenty of sellers say, oh my God, like, thank you so much, buy me flowers, and just totally grateful I was there to get rid of their headache and they can move on with their life. And there's multiple situations. There's divorce happening. There's, all kinds of financial issues that are happening, which leads to divorce if you're married, right? And then, people lost their jobs. They have to let their house go. People have passed away, might be in probate, and you can help serve the family during this time. Disgruntled tenants, there's plenty of those. There's all kinds of reasons people are going to sell. So to find them, you'll need to focus on who that's going to be in your market that you chose, right? In the market that you chose. And you can choose any market, it doesn't matter. I've invested in California, Georgia, Pennsylvania. I've done multiple states. And now I'm looking in Tennessee, and I still do Georgia, but just everything evolves at one point in time or another. So I do it because I'm experienced and I could do real estate remotely. And you can too, but make sure there's someone in your corner by your side to help direct you on how to do it remotely, right? Because you could buy something like, I know one of my clients did prior to being one of my clients, bought a property and had no idea what he was buying. And he was stuck with the property, couldn't do anything with it, couldn't develop it, couldn't do anything. It was a tax lien sale. And the reason it was for sale, because nobody paid their taxes, because they couldn't do anything with it. So he paid all cash for it and got stuck because the records were messed up from years ago. They call that encumbered. So title could not issue a clear title to sell the property unless someone was buying all cash. And when you buy all cash, none of the regulations really matter. So, but you get stuck with it, right? You get stuck with a headache of your own. Anyways, so there's lots of different moving parts when it comes to this. If you're wanting to know how to get started, how to find motivated sellers, like really get into detail. During this training, I take you through action steps to really solidify what that answer is specifically for you. And so it's, how to get started, finding motivated seller, your exit strategy, the market you're going to choose, what are the numbers? How do you know the purchase price, right? How do you find team? How do you vet them out? How do you know they're the right team? Do I work with the realtor? Why is this title company better than another title company? And do I need a lender? There's all kinds of things to consider, and I'll go over in this training specifically what fits you. And again, there's just 4 strategies to choose from. I know there's all this verbiage out there in the world. And when we look at YouTube videos and Google, real estate investing stuff, there's this huge wall of a jigsaw puzzle, and you're going, how do all these pieces fit together? Well, I'm going to pull them down for you, and I'm going to say, we're just going to stick to one box, and we're going to put the frame together first, and then we're going to match the colors and put those in. We'll get the whole jigsaw puzzle together for you by the end of the 5 days, right? It's a 5-day training. And how do you fund this, right? How do you fund your real estate transaction? So all of this will be covered in the 5-day training. If this is something you really want to dive into, I gave you briefly how to choose these things here today, how to get started, what's a good deal, and how to find motivated sellers. If you found value in that today, type value in the comments. If you want the training, type training in the comments, and we'll get you the deets for that. Well, I hope you're having a fabulous day, and thank you for tuning in for this week's training in our Retire Early Through Facebook group. And I will see you guys in the next training, right? The next, what do you call it? The 5-day challenge comments. So type training in the comments and I'll send you the info. Ciao.